Alright, so I wanted to hop on for a moment, review family, and talk a little bit about this new Oceano track, mass produced, because I'm hyped as hell that these guys are back. And I want to talk about why this track, this single, this band is so important to deathcore right now. I've been so hyped, and I've been spinning this thing on repeat since it dropped. These guys are a deathcore band that came around in a specific time period where deathcore was becoming popular. Bands like Suicide Silence, bands like Whitechapel were sort of getting their stride and getting their start, and Oceano was even inspired, I believe, by Suicide Silence because they were one of the first to popularize it and kind of the poster boys, but that's besides the point. Oceano was signed to Earache Records for a while, and then in 2017 they dropped a record that was on Sumerian Records, and then since 2017 we have heard nothing from these guys. Oceano has been a band that has flown under the radar for so many people. They've had a lot of lineup changes, very tumultuous lineup changes, to where they don't have any of their original members. And that can provide a lot of kind of off putting vibes for people that maybe liked their very, very, very early material. But here's why this track is so important. Since the last time that we heard from Oceano, the deathcore meta, I'm going to call it meta, has changed tremendously. And y'all will know immediately what I'm talking about when I list bands like Lorna Shore, bands like Worm Shepherd, these hyper-technical deathcore bands that have turned up the ante to be incredibly technical, incredibly heavy, breakdown upon breakdown upon breakdown, trying to make the loudest possible sounds you can make. I'll throw Infant Annihilator in there as well. Just trying to play deathcore to such a hideous, vile degree. Slaughter to Prevail is another one that comes to mind. The meta of deathcore has shifted from being a more brutal, heavy, no bullshit, straight to the point, pretty predictable, but very effective style, and it's changed into a field that is much more technical and shock value oriented. And I want to say, I'm a big fan of Infinite Annihilator. I am definitely a big fan of Lorna Shore, and I am a Worm Shepherd stan. The blackened influences that have been coming in deathcore for quite a few years now, I think are yielding some of the best records that we've seen in deathcore for a while. But by the same token, with bands like Suicide Silence going off the beaten path into nu metal, with bands like Whitechapel admittedly sticking somewhat to their niche, but also dabbling in alternative metal and alternative rock and different semblances to their music, and Thy Art Is Murder sort of becoming stagnant in the way they're writing material, original bands like Bring Me the Horizon being so far removed from their deathcore days that they're not even like it, bands like the Red Chord being extremely silent, what you get is a landscape that is very directly one thing and so little of the other. And that's why I love this track so much. The production on one hand is very much akin to what is present on Slaughter to Prevail or Lorna Shore. Heavily produced, gunshot percussion, technical riffs, and breakdowns that hit you like a 50,000 mile high skyscraper. But the vocals, the gritty tone, the sick bass lines, the layering growls and shrieks, and just the, I won't say cookie cutter, but decently like on the nose breakdown. Is it bad that this is just a breath of fresh air to hear a straight to the point, straightforward deathcore track that the current day and age needs? And I'm not talking down to any of the modern bands because they're doing a fantastic job. But I miss straight to the point, heavy, brutal as all hell deathcore. It has an awesome metalcore breakdown in like the halfway point, and these fast riffs, so gritty, it's so heavy, it's so rough. The vocals are just exactly what they are, and they feel authentic, they feel unapologetically ruthless, and they're not just trying to do vocal acrobatics to combine and make the most hideous, obscene sort of vocals you can hear that are like 15 multi-layered tracks slathered in reverb with like 15 different pitches of screams and like 5 different techniques. Sometimes I just want something that is straightforward and extremely well written. And just as a whole, when it comes to straightforward deathcore, Oceano have been overlooked, and I think a lot of people don't understand just how much they slip through the cracks with some of the most grooving and heavy and relentless deathcore music of the 2000s and 2010s. But because they weren't one of the big names, and because of their lineup changes and the label changes, they kind of just got swept away from the sands of time. But the real people that understand their impact are loving this track, and I'm one of them, because I've liked Oceano for a while, and this track just hit on all of my cylinders and just left me like, deathcore needed this. Deathcore needs this. Please, I implore you that check it out with these things in mind. It's gonna be in a pinned comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this track. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. But be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.